Hi, I'm Roy from Roy's Garage. Today I'm going to be working on a 2010 Subaru Outback. I'm going to show you how to replace the passenger front, right front lower control arm. On this one, the bushing right over here is broken. So what's happening is this arm is moving up and down. It's not supposed to do that. Some guys, they replace only the bushing alone, but on this one I'm going to replace the whole control arm. These are the tools I'm going to be using today to do this job. A pry bar, ball peen hammer, 3-pound sledgehammer, a punch, a brass punch, 1/2-inch impact, 32mm socket, 19mm socket, 17mm flex socket, a 17mm straight socket, 14mm socket, 1/2-inch extension, 14mm socket, 3/8 extension, 19mm wrench, 17mm wrench, another 17mm wrench, 3/8 ratchet, another 3/8 ratchet, 6mm Allen wrench socket, water pump plier, a block of wood, and anti-seize. This is the part I'm going to be using today to do this job. This is a passenger front, right front, lower control arm with ball joint. Okay, so what I did ahead of time, I got some penetrating oil and I went shoot them on my connections where I'm going to be removing, like one right here, right there, this rear bolt, and this axle nut. So just shoot it ahead of time, let the thing sit for a while, and then it's going to be a little easier to take it apart. So I'm going to be unscrewing the sway bar link from the lower control arm. Okay, so this shaft is spinning, so I'm going to be using a 6mm Allen wrench to hold the center while I unscrew the nut. So I'm going to be removing this axle nut. This uses a 32mm socket. So I'm going to be removing this bolt. This what bolts the lower ball joint together to the spindle. Okay, so I'm going to unscrew this bolt right here. Okay, I'm going to be unscrewing this bolt. Okay, so I'm going to be disconnecting my lower ball joint from the spindle. So I'm going to get a pry bar and push the lower arm down. Sometimes you can get a hammer and kind of pound it, kind of help it out. Okay, so I'm going to be pulling this axle out of the hub. Okay, so I'm using a block of wood. I'm going to be positioning it right here to keep the spindle away. Okay, so I'm going to be lifting up the axle. Then I'm going to be putting on the control arm. So we're going to be bolting up this side first. So I'm going to be bolting the front side next. Okay, so don't tighten anything up yet. So I'm going to be putting some anti-seize right around the joint. I'm going to be putting some on the under the spindle. Okay, so I'm going to be putting some anti-seize on my axle. Putting it in my spindle. Just load them up. So I'm going to be putting in the axle into my spindle. So I'm going to be sliding the lower ball joint into my spindle. Sometimes this ball joint's a little bit crooked, so you might have to kind of twist it a little to center it. So I got the lower ball joint all the way up into the spindle. Now I'm going to be bolting this guy up. Tightening it up. Okay, so I'm going to be jacking up the lower control arm. Putting my jack right underneath the ball joint. And just jack it up. All the way up until the car lifts off the jack stand a little, because you want all that weight right on your jack. Tighten up this bolt. So we're going to be tightening this bolt up. Okay, so I'm going to be lowering the jack. So I'm going to be connecting my sway bar link to the lower control arm. So I'm going to be putting on my axle nut. Okay, so now with my punch, I'm going to stake it so it doesn't move. Okay, you're good to go. So that's how you replace the right front passenger front lower control arm. If you have any questions, comment below. Make sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I see you in the next video. Aloha.